How do you do, everyone, and welcome to the NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday, the 28th of February 2022. Wow, the last day in February already. Where does the time go? Wowee. It's Gary here again, and I think I'm just going to use the same recording as I've used pretty much every week since we came back from the winter break. Rangers should change their name to YoYo FC because we're just so up and down these days. It's unbelievable, and the pattern is up in Europe and down in the league, and what a journey the team truly has us on this season. And I have to tell you that I don't like it. I don't care for it at all. A mate told me yesterday at this time last year we were 5 points away from winning the league. 12 months ago, 5 points away from winning the league at the end of February. Contrast that now with the inconsistent junk that is just being served up to us week after week in the league, and you'd really struggle to truly believe that this is the same squad of players, and it is. Just so frustrating. Anywho, let's get through the game segment as quickly as we can. 2 games this past week, one in the Europa League, last 32, and one in the domestic league. I find myself thinking about what I said on last week's pod about the first leg in Dortmund and thinking, wow, what to say about the first game of the week for us, because it was the first game after the pod last week. And I just, I think it's one of, if not the best two-legged performances in European competition that I've seen. I said last week that the away game was probably the best away game that I have seen in my lifetime of watching Rangers for over 35 years, almost 40 years. And I think, amass that with the home leg as well, it has to be certainly up there with one of the best two-legged performances. And let this sink in again, we handily beat the tournament favourites 6-4 on aggregate over 2 legs, scored 6 goals against them over 2 legs. Just utterly incredible performances over the 2 games. So happy, so proud of the team, and so great to feel like we felt. It was such a bringing together of the community of Rangers fans across the world. And again, like in the first leg, every single player was absolutely immense all over the pitch for the whole game. 2 goals from a brilliant, fantastic James Tavernier on the night. The first one from the penalty spot after a brilliant spot by the referee, and the second a superbly controlled finish. It helped us gain the 2-2 draw and the aggregate win. We were 2-1 down, of course, at half time, and it was a wee bit nervy until Tav got the second. Then we should have had the third when Morelos robbed Emre Can, ran in, squared to Ryan Kent to tap in, only for the goal to be ruled out because of a phantom foul on Chan. They were remonstrating enough that the referee, I guess, in some way enacted VAR, goes and checks it and looks, and then for whatever reason the VAR didn't give him the angle that he was supposed to have to be able to see very obviously that Alfie nicks the ball away from him. Then Chan, I'm not exactly sure what it is, kicked him. And that's what he was calling for the foul for. I don't get it. Ridiculous. Anyway, that was a wee bit of a blot in the copybook, but we were absolutely superb, brilliant, just brilliant in both legs. And I truly have to say, I fantasize about football being like that every single week. Both teams playing high tempo, attacking football, looking to genuinely win the game. No bad behaviour, no petulance, nothing to really get overly fussed about. Just 2 really good teams going at it with each other. Just superb entertainment. May the best team win, and it was a joy to watch over both games. Just some tremendous entertainment. On the referee watch, I thought the fella had an absolutely brilliant game. I've seen this guy before on the bigger European stage, probably some Champions League games, and I think I saw him also at the delayed Euro 2020 tournament last summer, and he's probably the best referee in the world, or certainly the best referee I've seen for years and years. He called almost everything spot on, apart from the Kent goal that I talked about, and other than that bizarre decision, but he called it based on what he was shown from VAR, not that back angle as I talked about a wee while ago there. Other than that bizarre decision, what he was looking at was pretty inconclusive, so it can go either way. And now that we're through, and I know that we know that that's not material to the actual overall result, then he gets a 9 out of 10. He's such a great referee. So what does this mean for us? As you know for sure, we've been drawn against, I'm going to call them Red Star Belgrade because there's no way I'm able to pronounce their new name, but Red Star Belgrade with the first game coming up at Ibrox next week. So no rest for the wicked in terms of our European exploits for this year. That was the good part of the football for the week. Our second game was at home to Motherwell on Sunday morning, and we enjoyed the lead up to this game with the news that Diet Celtic had taken points off of the full fat version, meaning that if we win, we're just 1 point behind, and by virtue of that, then closer on goal difference as well. And then we have a bit of a strange lineup with Lundstrom in the centre of defence and no Jack and no Hollander in the squad, no Ramsey as well in the squad. And then a bench consisting of John McLaughlin, Matthias Zakowski, Liam Balogun. We've got a centre-back on the bench, but we move our holding midfielder to the centre-back position. We've got Borna Barisic there. We've got James Sands, Lowry, Ahmad Scott Wright and Kamar Roof. So that's a bit of an eyebrow raiser, but okay, like after the exploits of Thursday night, maybe there's some bodies needing some rests, and it's only Motherwell, he says in inverted commas. And the first half was quite sensational from literally the first minute. Their goalie, who we gave them for free as far as I understand it, made a couple of really genuine worldly saves and the crossbar and some last ditch challenges beat us to get the early lead until we broke the deadlock with an interesting finish from Alfredo Morelos, which he kind of had to scooch down and it was a brilliant header, like a brilliant goal, but just it seemed like it was going to have to take something like that to break the deadlock, to kind of open the floodgates and get us going, and that's kind of the way that it proved it was going to be. Because very quickly after that, we had a second goal from Fashion Sakala. Sakala is now the new Eton and the scourge of Motherwell, as I talked about, I think it was last week or maybe the week before. And I'm then texting, the crew saying this is a great chance to get the goal difference back, based on how Celtic have been doing on the goal difference front. And I'm like, there's absolutely no question in my mind at half time that we're going to go in and win this game handily. We're going to go on the crest of a wave from getting through in Europe, and we're going to set a marker down because Celtic have been clutching on to results recently without getting the performances. Little did I know, we were so dominant in the first half that it could easily have been 5, and no one would have batted an eyelid. No one. But it's 2-0, and you know how precarious 2-0 is. The second half, we do what we do, and we come out with a wee bit less intensity. Maybe they've upped their game a wee bit. Kind of Hearts certainly did that a few weeks back. And then we've got less drive, less purpose, less intensity, and we start kind of somewhat meandering around the field a wee bit. And then Motherwell half the deficit on 52 minutes, which I think was the first shot on goal. Very lazily defended. And I think that McGregor, I know he doesn't come for cross balls, I talked about that last week, but he could have flopped onto his side and came out and at least redirected the ball, but probably smothered it. And then he doesn't do that, the boy taps it in over towards the back post. The first shot on target, and they're back in the game. Just wow, man. Then we huff and puff and got two very, very tight offside decisions called against us that would have made it 3. And basically the game done, and Giovanni talked about that in his post-match press conference. But we didn't get the benefit of the doubt from the linesman. Francis Connor, I believe was his name. That's a shocker, he wouldn't give us those. The first one maybe was offside, the second one, no way was that offside. And at 2-1, they're still very much in it. Then they foul their way through the entire rest of the game, and the ref decides that that's okay. And then the comedy trio that we have in our central defence return for a virtuoso performance that takes me back a few years to circa 2018, 2019. We've got a speculative ball downfield that has Tav and Knots in the completely the wrong position, and he can't foul the guy because he's already on a yellow where the referee gave him a yellow correctly but just decided the rules only apply to Rangers players and not to Motherwell players. And then both he and Goldson do their well-rehearsed river dance routine where they just jump and hop around the spot and let the fella break through, and then he lashes a shot. Okay, it's hit with power, but McGregor inexplicably lets it slip right past him on the near post. Just crap. Absolute mega crap is what that goal was. But we've got 14 minutes to save the game. And I'm fairly sure I'm not alone in thinking, at that time, I don't want to be defeatist and I don't want to be negative because that's not my nature. But I thought, we just don't win games like this anymore, certainly not in 2022. And we huffed and puffed, created the odd half chance, but for the most part, it felt to me like the script was already written for us, and it finishes 2-2. I literally cannot believe that after how dominant we were in that first half, that we dropped 2 points. Another 2 points in that game. Just astonishing, and not in a good way. On the referee watch, Don Robertson continued the trend of absolute incompetence by referees. I referred to it just a wee while ago there as well. This incompetence is very consistent, I'll give them that, when officiating Rangers games. I literally just hope that the referees will guess. This is where I'm at now. I literally just hope the referees are going to guess their way correctly through a Rangers game these days. That's what I've got. Like the bar is so low for these guys these days. And as I mentioned earlier, he let foul after foul after foul go with a gentle warning or a wee reminder for the Motherwell players. Then books Alfie for remonstrating with Francis from about 30 yards away for chalking off the first disallowed goal. I still don't think it was offside, but people tell me it was. Then correctly booked Tav for the shot pull, or the kind of shoulder pull that he did just before they equalised. Don't have an issue with that, but didn't call back another jersey pull, and I think it was on Tav later in the game, and of course did absolutely nothing about the time wasting through the whole game, only adding 3 minutes at the end. And okay, there was 1 minute added on at the end of that, but 3 minutes after all that time wasting. Motherwell are infamous for this. There should have been 15 minutes, and that would have been generous to Motherwell at the end. Like Bobby Madden last week, Don Robertson is just a crap referee. He gets a 3 out of 10 for me, but it definitely, I want to be super clear about this, folks, it definitely wasn't the referee's fault that our standards slipped so dramatically in the second half. That's on us, and it's just the same stuff. So, since the winter break, we've played 8 league games. 8. We've won 3, we've drawn 4, and we've lost 1. So, of a possible 24 points, we've picked up 13. 11 points dropped in that time. As I've said before, that's surefire second place form right there. And I'm becoming more and more accustomed to the fact that this team just aren't good enough to defend the championship that they won so easily last year, or not defend the championship the way that we want them to defend the championship. Remember, a year ago we were 5 points away, 2 results away from winning 55. So 10 games to go, and we're going backwards in terms of results. You know, the last 2 performances against Dundee United and Motherwell, if we had scored 5 or 6 in each game, no one would have been shocked or devastated. I guess it depends what way you look at it or what team you support. But the results are going backwards in an alarming fashion. We've drawn 7 games this season. I don't need to tell you, that's 14 points that we've given up, and we're 3 points behind. So, 14 points given up just for draws, and every single one of those draws, as far as I can recollect, that we were worthy of the win. Or maybe 5 of them, let's just say. I've got some of the Aberdeen games maybe in my head where we were kind of shocking, but we're only 3 points behind. So you don't have to be a mathematician to see where our Achilles heel is. We're nowhere near ruthless enough. And thankfully the gap between us and Hearts is wide enough that second really isn't in any material danger. Am I saying this because of some sort of kind of swanky reverse psychology? I truly hope that I am. The results have to change at some point, and soon. It's not as if we're not getting into good positions. The goalie was exceptional on the weekend there, against Motherwell, so it was just one of those days. That's okay if it is just one of those days, but we're having one of those days every single league game we're playing in these days, it seems like. Looking ahead to March, to next month, starting tomorrow, we play St Johnstone, Aberdeen, Red Star Belgrade twice, and Dundee twice, one in the Scottish Cup quarter-final and one in the league. Based on current form, it feels to me like we'll be lucky to pick up 8 points from a possible 12 available, and then we're constantly looking over at the east end of the city to see what they're doing, because I don't think they're in a much better position than we are, other than 3 points, of course. Anyway, I'm glad I got that off my chest. It's just not good enough, folks, and it's frustrating and it's worrying as well. This week we have two games, both in the league, starting with an away game at St Johnstone on Wednesday, March the 2nd, with a 2:45pm Eastern Standard Time kickoff. That's 7:45 UK time. St Johnstone are having a horrendous season in comparison to the successes that they enjoyed last season, which I'm sure is going to mean that they're going to be fighting for their lives against us, and everybody seems to be able to manage to get themselves up for a game against us. So we have to be at our best and clinical and ruthless to get the result that we need. Maybe the only decent thing coming out of yesterday, apart from getting a point, of course, is the fact that we know for a fact 2 is not enough. Go for goals. Keep going for goals. Show no mercy. And get it and put these teams to the sword. The results against them this season have been a 2-1 win at McDermott Park in mid-September. That was courtesy of second half goals from Kamar Roof from the penalty spot and James Tavernier, and a 2-1 victory at Ibrox in mid-December, courtesy of goals from Alfredo Morelos and Ryan Kent, very closely on to each other time-wise, but on either side of half-time. So, as you can see, no runaways against them this season thus far, and we'll need to produce something special to get a lead and hang on to it and see out the game, which admittedly isn't our forte on the domestic front in this last phase of the season, almost quarter, I guess you could say, of the season that we have not enjoyed too much. The second game is this coming Saturday at home to Aberdeen with a 10am Eastern Standard Time kickoff, 3pm UK. When was the last time we had a 3pm UK kickoff time on a Saturday? That's kind of unique, or it feels like it is anyway. And Aberdeen, of course, are once again a real thorn in our side this season, and with Jim Goodwin there now, I don't expect that to change, because he had St Mirren very up for most of the games against us that they played as well in his previous management position. We've played Aberdeen twice this season, and I mentioned that briefly when I was having my rant. Firstly, the 2-2 draw at Ibrox in late October, when we were 2-0 down in 14 minutes or 16 minutes or whatever it was. Just a shocking start to the game. And then we equalised through goals from Alfredo Morelos and James Tavernier. And then that very frustrating draw that we had with them, a 1-1 draw we had with them, where we went ahead midway through the first half from a goal from Yanis Hadji, and then Kevin Clancy came to full fat Celtic's rescue again by awarding a penalty, and of course the obligatory booking of Alfredo Morelos for a very, very unfortunate handball in the box. And then, to add insult to injury, sending Ryan Kent off for what turned out to be a dive by Scott Brown, when it was proven afterwards on TV footage that Ryan Kent didn't even touch him. Seems fair enough. So, like Dundee United last week, Aberdeen have taken more than their fair share of points off of us. Actually, like Motherwell as well, because they got a draw at Ibrox a wee bit earlier in the season. So Motherwell, Aberdeen, Dundee United, there's a pattern forming here, and they've taken, as I say, more than a fair share. I don't have a clue which Rangers team is going to show up on Wednesday, which Rangers team is going to show up on Saturday. We'll just wait and see, and hopefully we get more yo than yo, as in the one that's good and not the one that's so bad. And let's just pretend in both games that we're playing Borussia Dortmund, and then we'll go from there. So, as it continues to be unfunny, I'm not going to do the points per game part. For RTV, not too much to report on the technical delivery front for this past week. Everything seemed to be fairly quiet. We did have some login challenges for both Barry and Los Angeles, which I think were due to expired club vouchers, and I think we've got both clubs now back on an even keel. If that's not the case, please let us know. And then we are in the process of ramping up our payments collections from delinquent clubs out there. And what I can tell you right now is that if your club has not paid any fees to date and has not got in touch from all the correspondence that has been sent out to date, then, to provide a payment plan or give us a wee bit of a semblance of understanding of what's going on, then, and you have continued to be delinquent by the end of March, your club and any individual vouchers issued to your club members will be cancelled outright by the end of March. And just to be super clear about that, that's just before the Old Firm game at the beginning of April, in case you haven't looked that far ahead. RTV is a very valued partner of NARSA and has been for many, many years. but they are getting pissed off with us now, and rightly so. So come on, folks, enough of this garbage. Stop ignoring emails or any other communication attempts, and let's help us get our partners paid. Other than that, it was pretty quiet, as I say, on the RTV front. If there are any further vouchers required for any individual members or club accounts, of course, please do let Alan know and he will sort you out. For shout-outs this week, firstly, I would like to say a shout-out to my dear old dad, Ronnie, who is unfortunately in hospital right now. He got, I'm going to say, rushed to hospital. I don't know if that sounds a wee bit more panicky than it was, but he got referred through an urgent referral on Wednesday afternoon last week. Thursday afternoon or evening, I guess early evening last week, and I know that he was pissed off at that because he missed the Borussia Dortmund game. As a result, he has it on record. He'll get a chance to watch it a little bit later, but he of course knows the score and subsequent stuff like that. He's still in hospital right now. He's in an admitting ward with another 5 very chatty elderly females, so I think he's in his element there, and they're still doing some tests trying to find out what's going on and how he's doing. So I have had a chance to chat to him a couple of times. I know that Linda and Caroline are getting a chance to visit over in Scotland as well and look after him and spoil him a wee bit and things like that. So best of health to you, Dad, and I will hopefully get a chance to chat to you soon and we'll get this stuff figured out and you'll be back on your feet. Well, when I say back on your feet, that doesn't really apply to you. You'll be back sitting on your lazy arse on your fancy seat with your blankie shouting at the TV, hopefully at some point soon. I love you. Take care, and we'll chat soon. The second one, I am absolutely delighted to share something that is also personally important to me and all Calgary and area bears, that as of tomorrow, pretty much all restrictions are lifted in Alberta, meaning COVID restrictions, that is, meaning no social distancing, no proof of vaccinations required for public spaces, no masks, and basically no restrictions in public settings. So I think that's pretty much the gist of it. There might be the odd wee bit and piece that I've missed. Why this is delightful to me is that this means that we can now finally resume the Rangers Supporters Club of Calgary in-person attendance at our home at the Palomino Smokehouse downtown. So apart from the recent Old Firm crap fest, we haven't been able to congregate together since around, I think it's September or October-ish time, something like that. So to all Calgary Bears and Bearettes, please join us for this Saturday's game versus Aberdeen, which might just see your fortunes turn for the better. Or not. Either way, I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone again. Normalcy is resuming in these here parts, folks, and I am very, very happy about that. We will communicate that via our regular communications channels to our members and via social media and things like that. And if any specific protocols have to be followed from the Palomino staff management, will let us know and we'll get everyone prepared so there's no room for conflict there. So 2 pretty personal ones for me this week, and 1 not so good, 1 very good. For our convention update this week, I can officially confirm that it is 93 days from today until the first official event of the 2022 convention. To put that in a week's to-go context, that's just over 13 weeks to get everything sorted for the event. It's going to be single digits in weeks before we know it. Oh my word. As mentioned over the last couple of weeks, the golf is on sale and selling very well. So if you plan to golf, please don't delay in getting it booked. And as I mentioned last week, from a VIP perspective, we will be anticipating that a few of them will be golfing and you'll get a chance to rub shoulders with them. I'll put the link to the golf page in the blurb for tonight's pod, and you can take a peek and hopefully get that booked pretty quick. And on to the VIPs. We have been very, very active in this space over the past couple of weeks and will continue to be this weekend and next to round off our guest list for Vegas in 2022. For those that have been with us convention-wise for the past while, you'll know that what we basically do is we have a bit of a communication protocol that we follow where we'll communicate via our regular communication channels, our email distribution lists and social media and website as the VIPs are organised, and we try and be as organised as we possibly can as on the communications front. The last time we were able to communicate guests was obviously back in 2018-19 in preparation for the Windsor event in 2019, and we didn't have this podcast that you're listening to help with the communications. So that's a new avenue for us to help bring the news to our guests as well. The rough plan will be that we'll try and organise a quick interview for this podcast, either in conjunction with us announcing, and you'll hear the announcement here live on the podcast, or at some point shortly afterwards to help us continue to generate and build the excitement for the event. Now, what I can reveal is that we have 3 themes for the VIP guests for this year. The first theme is Barcelona 72 to commemorate the famous Cup Winners' Cup win, of course. The second theme is 9 in a row to commemorate our historic 9 championships in a row, of course. And the third is other major contributors. Let's bucketize them like that, which will include legends and others who more than contributed to Rangers over the years. Right now, I can tell you that we have 7 VIP legends confirmed for the event and another few in the works. We're going to work with the communications subcommittee this week to start getting going on the communications to let everyone know who's joining us so that we can start to see the event truly take shape. And we'll also send our invite, actually we also have sent our invite to the club, to Rangers Football Club, inviting club leadership and footballing staff to come and enjoy the event with us. We've asked to be notified by the club by the end of March as to what the plans are, so we will communicate more about that when we know more. And as a reminder, in conjunction with our VIP guests, we also have our MC David Edgar from the Heart and Hand the Rangers podcast, my apologies, confirmed as well. And due to the sheer size of Vegas, we've brought on board a co-MC to ensure that we have as much coverage as possible and as much support as we can for David throughout the event. And we'll communicate a wee bit more about that hopefully later this week as we bring the logistics of that part together. I don't know about you, but I'm getting excited now. So I'm not being purposely vague on the who's been invited and who's accepted, but we want to get it all completely locked and loaded before we do the communications, and we want to do the communications in as organised a fashion. As a reminder, we are closing in on the shirt supplier for the Absent Friends football match, so really hoping we're going to be in a position to get that on sale as quickly as we possibly can. Ideally this week, if not this week, maybe later or early to mid next week, something like that. I know this is a familiar statement that I've said, but we are truly getting closer to understanding what that's going to look like for us. So hopefully the football will be there, and that's the last event other than the leaving do that we have to get organised. So the main focus this week, get the VIPs confirmed, start to get the communications out there, start to build some excitement. So please stay tuned for that. Another plug for our convention frequently asked questions document that we've been talking about every week. As I mentioned last week, there has been some updates to it, so please go check that out in terms of buying and selling tickets and how to transfer them and the like. On to communications for this week. I wanted to start by letting you know that I think a week or two ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, Ian Greer from the Rangers Soccer Academy got in touch to let us know about a return of the Soccer Academy Elite Development Residential that's taking place at Sport Scotland's National Centre in Inverclyde. And the event includes the 6-day football training programme, including a 5-night stay at Sport Scotland's High Performance National Training Centre, Elite Academy experience with professional coaching staff, reflecting the style, philosophy and curriculum of Rangers Football Club, evaluation reports of each player's physical, technical and tactical performance, bespoke group sessions for both girls and boys, as well as outfielders and goalkeepers, elite player training, kit pack and personal development workshops, and getting to train with players from all around the world as well. I'll put the link to how you can book this. There's a wee bit more information on that, about the dates as well. I believe there's maybe more, but I believe there's a camp in April, one in July, or maybe a couple in July. I actually believe there's more than that, because I checked out the website yesterday and I think there was more dates. So you can go check the dates out, you can check out what you get for your money, you can check out how much of course it costs, and get organised for that. What Ian had said in his email was we would be delighted to welcome players from North America across to Scotland for this fantastic experience. So as I say, I'll put the link to the blurb, to the website, and you can go check that out a wee bit more if that's something that's of interest to you or anyone within your network. Rangers last week launched a new interactive website, and the email that I received on Thursday about it, which I'm sure most other people on Rangers email distribution list received the same. Rangers are pleased to unveil our new interactive website, Ask Rangers, where fans can find important customer information at any time from anywhere. Developed as part of our ongoing commitment to streamline and improve supporter interactions with the club, the Ask Rangers site contains a variety of articles and useful information for supporters. Topics covered include ticketing, matchday experience, MyJers membership, hospitality, Rangers TV, retail and more. In addition to the improved contact forms and an interactive answer function, an interactive answer function have been added to further enhance the supporter experience when contacting Rangers. This site is a further step in Rangers' strategy to modernise and enhance fan engagement capabilities. In addition, the new customer service unit continue to answer thousands of supporter inquiries every month. Supporters wishing to contact Rangers on any matter can use the new website or direct inquiries to, and this is an email address, contact@rangers.co.uk. That's contact@rangers.co.uk. So, another significant step forward in both our customer service levels and our digital strategy, in fact, actually, and also our engagement of fans as well as we go forward. One more quick wee thing on the communication front. Our partners, 5 Stars, have launched a brand new swanky shiny website as they continue to grow their partnership with Rangers Football Club. The new site is 5 Stars Limited, that's ltd.com, 5starsltd.com, that's FIVESTARS and I've checked out the site. It's an absolute beauty. If you haven't checked it out yet, please go take a peek and see what products and offerings that they have there, and go ahead and go nuts. There's lots of content there that you'll be able to just access. It's not just a selling website. I'll put the link to the website in the blurb for tonight's pod as well. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago on the communication front that Greg Marshall, Rangers SLO, had got in touch about videos that they wanted to put together to celebrate our 150th anniversary month, which is March, is when the club are really turning that up, as you'll know from previous pods and maybe whatever else it is you've researched on your own. I'll read the message out. You do the video. What they're looking for is a video of no more than 60 seconds long. It's going to be a selfie video on portrait only. Please put it on portrait if you're recording on your phone. Hold the camera so that they can see the top of your shoulders and the entirety of your head. Please wear either current Rangers clothing or something unbranded. Think about your background. If you live somewhere famous, show it off. And then just tell us your name, tell us where you're from, why you're a Rangers fan, what the club means to you as it celebrates its 150th anniversary. It's not a lot of time to dedicate to that, so kind of get to the point, I think, is what Rangers are exactly saying. And as I mentioned earlier, it's a maximum of 1 minute in length. If you're interested in doing this, please, they're going to be doing it over the whole month and they would love to get some from North America. Please do let me know directly at rangersscc@hotmail.com. That's 2 S's and 2 C's. And I'll get you in touch with Greg and we can get the video submitted. We already have one from Victoria Serrell from the Bramalea Rangers Supporters Club, and I myself put one together today at lunchtime, just before lunchtime, I guess, and just waffled a wee bit for 60 seconds, which is kind of what I do here every week as well. And we'll see if they want to use that or not. But we'll get that organised for you. It'd be good to be involved if you can. And lastly, on the communication front this week, is Rangers have commissioned a Cup Winners' Cup replica as part of the pending 50th anniversary of our famous win in Barcelona 1972. Of course, I'm going to put a link to the article from the website in the blurb tonight, if you haven't already seen it, and I would urge you to check it out. Lots of good information there. And for those who will be joining us in Las Vegas in June this year, there's a very strong possibility that you will be able to enjoy the trophy in our presence and get your picture taken with it too. And hopefully that's not the only trophy that we have from the club this year. I'm still not giving up on the season just yet, as long as we can arrest this silliness that we seem to have got ourselves mired in. That will do it this week, my friends. 2 more very, very important games for us. And as I mentioned earlier, I've got truly no idea what we're going to be in for. Someone at some point is going to get an absolute pasting from us. And in reality, of course, it should have been both Dundee United and Motherwell. But it's coming, and then we'll be back on top with a better goal difference, and then we'll do that. It hasn't worked out for us, of course. The football gods haven't played their part for us this last couple of weeks, or I guess couple of months actually almost. But it's coming. I hope it's coming. Anyway, thank you very much for taking the time to listen, folks. Please do share it with whomever you think might enjoy it. And until next week, take care. Here's to 2 wins. All the best. Cheerio.